issue of what happens in terms of what gets protected or what gets strengthened or what doesn't, all determines on how we vote as individuals and how the state votes. So ideally, because it then goes back to what delegates go up, and we're talking about 15 at-large positions. New York City is almost half of the state. So ideally, New York City has the opportunity to send more Democrats on top of the state Senate, which we already technically should have a majority of, even though we have this other issue. But we're talking about voters, so we're talking about people in the district. So we're talking about Democrats. So these individuals were voted originally as Democrats, so ideally there are a lot of registered Democrats in these districts. So you add on to that like a larger vote, that you have a lot of Democrats in New York City and a lot of Democrats in the state. And when you add an extra 15 at-large positions, those by and large will be also Democrats, especially since it will be a midterm election where there's always been an uptick in voting registrations for Democrat because people have gotten involved in the political process more. So the belief is that we would win those extra seats. They would be predominantly Democratic, and the likelihood is that the delegates would reflect that, and then in the upcoming year, the actual vote would be one that would be in favor of what these progressive protections would be. But, and I will not lie, there are great protections in the Constitution. They should stay there, and we should do what we can to keep them in there, but it does not prevent us from not doing anything about making our state a better place, which I think this is a great opportunity to take, personally.
I also, to answer that pretty briefly, because I think the worst thing you could say about anything that I have said tonight would be that it would scare tactics. And that's, I think, a common refrain that people say, I think, when we sort of lay out what is at risk. But I don't say it lightly. It's not like a scare tactic as saying, you know, I'm not, any of the things that we're concerned about here, the rights of gays and lesbians, it's why, like, Equality New York is opposing, because they're concerned about discrimination protections that could be codified. Discrimination that can be codified. If you are concerned about voting rights, for example, we talked about that a little bit earlier, you could get applied into the Constitution that everyone needs an ID to vote. You could say that's a scare tactic, but it's actually a possibility. And just a proof point of this is, like, again, the bad ends of the world, the most conservative forces who would like to have a national voter ID, they will pile money in here, not just on that issue, but on anything. The environmental issues, as I mentioned, there's a reason why the environmental advocates, Sierra Club, and those folks are concerned. Yes, ideally, as a progressive, could we protect the air and clean water, and would that be great? Yes, but the risk is you could eliminate Forever Wild. And either way, people that care about the environment are going to have to spend millions of dollars running statewide campaigns to defeat or to oppose or approve constitutional amendments. I mean, it is a very messy process. And then finally, and then I'll shut up, is that I think one of the things, Brandon, you said was that, you know, part of the problem here are the politicians in Albany. That is a problem. But we would be depending upon the very same folks who run the Senate right now. Well, I'll just tell you, in 1967, 80% of the folks in that were delegates were from the Senate, because they have the power. The senator in the district has the power. They have the ability to get folks on the, you know, to get petitions signed and to get people elected. I know, I'm not certain from this, but I'm just. But this is how it's done. 80s, I say 80% of the folks in 67 were a part of the Senate or the Senate's office. So it passed as prologue, and it often is. You're depending upon the same people that are making a mess in Albany to fix it. So yeah.
You're on their stage.